contains only one pixel. As you can see in this picture, this unfertilized bird egg, it's cell large, so we can see it with naked eye, and we don't need a microscope to observe it. And unfertilized egg contains one big cell only. One big cell only. Any problem until now? Okay, right. At first, the living organism as a baby, and after that, living organisms grow and reproduce. Okay, we want to know living organisms grow and reproduce due to what, or a result of what? When the number of cells increase, when the number of cells in the body of living organisms increase, living organisms grow and reproduce. So living organisms grow and reproduce as result of increasing the number of cells. When a living organism grow, the cells don't increase in size, but its number increase. So when living organisms grow and reproduce, this occurs or happens due to or as a result of increasing the number of cells, and during growth the size of cell don't increase, but the number of cells increase. So if I ask you, true or false, during the growth of living organism the cells increase in size? True or false? Excellent, false. The cells don't increase, but the number of cells increase. Okay? Now we want to talk about similarities and differences between cells. Okay, at first we want to know that all cells have a cell membrane, and not all cells have a cell wall. Look with me at this picture. At first, we say it, not all cells have a cell wall. We want to know more about cell wall. Cell wall is a wall that surrounds the cell from outside, and it gives the cell definite shape. And plant cell has a cell wall, but animal cell doesn't have a cell wall. So when we observe plant cell under microscope, we can see plant cell with a definite shape, but animal cell doesn't have this definite shape because it doesn't have a cell wall. So at first, not all cells, we say that not all cells have a cell wall. Which cell have a cell wall? Right, plant cell. And which cell doesn't have a cell wall? Excellent, animal cell. So plant cell has a cell wall, so it has a definite shape. Animal cell doesn't have a cell wall, so it doesn't have a definite shape. And the next one, we say it, all cells have a cell membrane. Look at this picture. Animal cell have a cell membrane, and plant cell has a cell membrane. Why? Because cell membrane is very important. It protects the cell and it surrounds the cell from outside and make an important function. What is the function of cell membrane? Cell membrane control all substance that enter or leave the cell. Cell membrane control all substance that enter or leave the cell. So must all cells have a cell membrane. All cells must have a cell membrane. Animal cell has a cell membrane and plant cell has a cell membrane? Because cell membrane protect the cell and control substance that enter or leave from the cell. طيب عايزين نفهم أكتر إزاي. If any substance want to enter to the cell membrane determine the cell need this substance or not. If the cell need this substance, cell membrane allow substance to enter. If the cell don't need this substance, not allow this substance to enter. Okay, do you understand? So, if there is water want to enter to the cell membrane control amount of water that the cell need. So it's allow the suitable amount of water to enter and the excess water go outside. Okay, so water can enter to the cell through what? Through cell membrane. Okay, next one. Not all cells have a nucleus. Not all cells have a nucleus. From structure of cell, nucleus. Most of cells have a nucleus, but not all cells have a nucleus. For example, this animal cell has a nucleus, and this also animal cell doesn't have a nucleus. We want to know example about animal cell doesn't have a nucleus. Like red blood cells. مش علينا الإكزامبل بس the extra information ليكم. A red blood cells from animal cell that doesn't have a nucleus. So not all cells have a nucleus. The last one, the cells of one living organism are not identical. We want to understand this information. I will talk about me. I'm a living organism, and when I observe the cells of body, we can see that cells of body are not identical, are not similar, are different. Like this is a human muscle cell. This is the shape of human muscle cell, and this is the shape of human bone cell. These two cells are similar? No, not identical, not similar. So the cells of one living organism are not identical. Okay, we said some body of living organism are made up of many cells, such as a human body, and we can say these complex living organisms. And some living organisms are made up of one cell, like bacteria, and we can say these living organisms are simple living organisms. Okay, now we want to know what are the needs of the cell. We say that cell responsible for all vital activities or carries out all vital activities. The cell to do or carry out all vital activities needs energy to carry out all vital activities and to survive. Okay, the cell to get energy needs some materials like what? Like food and oxygen. So cell needs energy. Why? To carry out all vital activities and to survive. Okay, cell to get energy needs some materials like what? Like food and oxygen. So cell need food and oxygen. Why? To get energy. And the cell needs energy to carry out all vital activities and need something to survive. Need what to survive? Need water. Need water to survive or stay alive. So cell needs some materials to carry out all vital activities and to survive, such as food and oxygen. Need food and oxygen to get energy, and need water to stay alive. Okay. Who remember the structure in the cell that allow substance to enter or leave from the cell, or control substance to enter to the cell or leave from the cell? Right, who say it's cell membrane? Excellent. Cell membrane. So can water enters the cell through cell membrane, and we say it cell membrane surround the cell from outside. Okay, what happened when much water entered the cell? Uh, yes, right. The cell will swell until pressed. So cell membrane must found in all cells. Cell membrane must found in all cells to control the amount of substance or materials that enter to the cell. So, why cell membrane allow water to go outside? Right, to control the amount of water that enter to the cell, or we can say to keep the water balance inside and outside the cell. Okay, we want to talk about history of the cell. At first, we want to know microscope was invented in the 17th century. Microscope was invented in the 17th century, and in 1665 the scientist Robert Hooke used microscope. Why? To observe the tiny particles of some samples of plant parts. Who can tell me what are the tiny particles of some samples of plant parts? Right, the cell. So Robert Hooke named each of these tiny particles the cell. Again, microscope was invented in the 17th century, and in 1665 Robert Hooke used his microscope to observe tiny particles of some samples of plant parts and named each of these tiny particles with the cell. Okay, and the modern microscope help scientists in what? To discover more information about the cell. We want to know what are the information that modern microscope help scientists to discover it, like the nucleus that's found inside many cells. So modern microscope help scientists to discover that there is a nucleus found inside many cells, and help scientists to discover different parts of the cell and also their function. So modern microscope help scientists to discover different parts of the cell and their functions, and also help scientists to discover that the cell is the building unit of living organisms bodies. The cell is the building unit of living organisms bodies. And also know that from modern microscope, know that the body of some simple living organisms like what? Who can tell me like what? Right, simple living organisms like bacteria consist of one cell only, and also the body of living organisms that contain complex systems like human, right, consist of many different cells. So modern microscope help scientists to discover more information. This information like nucleus found inside many cells, different parts of cell and their function. The cell is the building unit of living organisms body. The body of simple living organisms consists of one cell only, and the body of complex living organisms consists of many different cells.